Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to today's live stream. This is Tyler. Super pumped that you're here this morning. If you're here for the first time, I'm super glad that you decided to join us to check it out, what trading futures is all about. During the live streams, I'm going to be sharing my daily trading bias. I'm going to be sharing order flow, calling out price action as it flows, and giving a front row seat to all the action. No fluff, just the good stuff. Also, if you're looking or if you're watching this after the fact, you can jump to the key moments throughout the video where I've taken trades and along with a detailed explanation of what I was thinking and why. Lastly, if you're looking to trade with a prop firm, if you're looking to go down that direction and you use Apex, well, I ask that you check out and use the code DTJ. It's a free way to get a discount anywhere from 50 to 90% off. And I would greatly appreciate it. If you don't use it, that's okay. You can use whatever you're still using and come along and hang out with us. So let's go and open in prayer and let's rock and roll. Father, we just thank you for the opportunity we have as day traders to trade. Father, I just pray that you would give us wisdom. Lord, that we would exercise the gifts of patience that you've given us. Lord, that we would remain disciplined, steadfast, not being manipulated by the whims of the market, but we would be intentional in following our plan. Lord, we honor you. We thank you. Amen. All right. Good morning. Super pumped that you're here. J Money, T Loft, Tony. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, let's check out the market. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's get set up for the day. Let's zoom in here. What do we got going on? Here's our opening range gap. We have equal lows down at the low of the opening range gap right here. I like those. I don't think you can see that right there. I like the way those look. We also have equal lows down by the previous week's low. If we jump out to a daily time frame, let's talk about this. We are messing around in this daily fair value gap. We filled the bottom quarter of this fair value gap yesterday. And this morning we've wicked into this second quarter of this fair value gap. Then we have our third and fourth. We've already ran the previous day high, and we have this giant new week opening gap. I'm biased still towards the upside. I think I'm just biased. We got a gap here on the daily and followed by this large gap. So I feel like at a minimum, I would want to see all of that filled. So in the daily and in context of this volume imbalance. To me, that's kind of the thing that stands out the most to me. So if our daily bias is bullish, the next thing we gotta figure out is our narrative. Hopefully I spelled that right. I'm not sure if I did or not. We need to figure out what our narrative, how is it going to get there? That's the big question. That's the question. That's the $1 million, literally the $1 million question. Because if you can figure out how it's going to get there, the only other thing that you got to do is find the model to get in that trade based on the narrative, and you make money. Trading's that simple, right? If there should be a smirk on your face based on that comment. Trading is simple to understand, can be very difficult to execute. So let me finish getting some stuff set up here, but that's ultimately what I want to see happen. That's the direction I want to go. And we just need to see how that's going to take place. All right, give me a minute here. I need to get my stuff set up here. Good morning, Eva, Felipe, Wilhelm, Alkai. Good morning. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm basically getting my evals set up as well, because I'm going to trade some evals with my copier. But ultimately, going back to my conversation while I'm setting this up on the other screen, is I want it to go higher. It's just a matter of how is it particularly going to get there. So if we drop down to the 4 hour, we can see we have a London high already taken, already swept liquidity, and we have a 4 hour fair value gap that we are finding support in. I personally don't think we run all the way back down here. I will change my bias if we start running aggressively. I think the lowest I really think we'll go is to these set of equal lows right here. And that's kind of my narrative, is to see lower prices first and then a push higher. All right, let me get this real quick. I'm just seeing if Apex is doing any discounts here that I can share with you guys. Got 5 minutes till market open. So right now, they have now changed their reset fee to $50. No longer is it $35. They have increased their reset fees. I was just looking. Daniel, good morning. So we have this 1 hour here. Price looks heavy. after sweeping the previous day high. We swept it at 3 a.m. and have been moving lower. I don't see any form of imbalances. We have a 30-minute imbalance right here. This is our new day opening gap. So that looks attractive, as we could fill this new day opening gap sitting right here. These blue lines, dashed lines, I like those. Patrick, good morning. We have the opening range gap that is sitting right here. So I think narrative-wise, what I want to see happen is I want to see a move to the downside, ideally to the midpoint of the opening range gap, which would be the midpoint of the new day opening gap from this morning, and see how it wants to respond. It will sweep this liquidity, see if it wants to run for equal lows, maybe, maybe not. And then the last point would be a 5-minute BISI that's sitting right here. After this, we just have these equal lows in the previous week low. So those are kind of the levels that I'm looking at as far as price goes. There's a mitigation block right there. We did sweep that. I'm looking at where this approximately will close. Depending if it closes bullish or bearish will determine if I'm taking the 930 model. Pretty much break even for that. Let me see here. pretty muted opening session. Sam, good morning. Hang Flying, good morning. T, good morning. Yes, we did mark the previous day low. Sitting way down here. We have London high that I'm watching. See what we do after we sweep London high. Pretty much consolidating inside this range. We did get a small sweep of liquidity right here, right around the midnight open. You'll see that little sweep right there. The question for me is, will we see displacement and will we treat this like a breaker? I do like it. If we come back up into this level, I will look at taking a short. I don't think my screen's set up. There we go. For executions on this screen, you're only going to see one contract for this screen here. Inversion right here. However, there is a volume imbalance that was right here. Do you see that small volume imbalance right there? I didn't like that on taking the inversion to the downside. This ultimately is what I'm looking for. Something like that. See if it's going to hold here, if it just pushes right through. And it looks like it pushed right through. Followed the plan, executed the plan. It didn't play out. That's just what happened. We'll wait until we hit a key level. The key level would be the previous day high or the London high. Ultimately, that's where we want it to go. I wanted it to hit these equal lows, filled halfway of the opening range gap first. That was the narrative that I wanted to play out. Hang flying. But yes, if we start seeing aggression to the upside, I can use the London high as my draw on liquidity and use this level here as my breaker, which is right at the midnight open. At least on this breaker that we took to the downside, it invalidates it immediately, just so we know that we're wrong. That makes it nice. Just, you're done. As nice can be on a losing trade. Tag midnight open, rolling over. This breaker, I set a standard 10-point stop loss. Some people will set their stop loss way up here. I don't want to handle that much drawdown. But we'll see if it plays out. I'm just not a fan of it. We won't be getting back in. We will wait till something clear shows up. Do I see it hitting Friday's range? What was Friday's range? You mean the previous week high? That's really what I'm looking at. Is this is the opening range gap sitting right here? It's right at the midpoint of the daily fair value gap. So I think ultimately my target is going to be 21,771. That's where I'm thinking it wants to go, 21,771. I think it possibly could, or at least tag it. It doesn't have to fill it today. I mean, but really what I want to see is I want to see it come down to the new day opening gap first and then run for London high. I think that's what I want. So I took the trade off of the idea we're running to fill the halfway of the opening range gap. But now at this point, what I'm going to do is wait for this to run and then take the trade towards the high. That's going to be my plan. And if that becomes invalid, then we put together a new plan. If we don't run London high and we come back and tag this level here as a breaker, I'll look at that towards going towards the London high. But as of right now, it might just push without us. Nice job, T. Ooh, 100-point move. Are you in the trade, hang flying? All right, so there's London high right there. All right, so current plan change is going to be we didn't run these lows, which I wanted to, but it's obvious that we're expanding higher. So I can't take a long from this. I need to see a retracement. So do we get a retracement down to this level? I'm not sure. We may get it to the London high. That's more reasonable. I'm going to see where this body closes, but I'm open to taking a long here inside of this fair value gap. I'm going to give it a little bit. Okay, nice close body right at the high. Gonna wait until the close of this candle because obviously we've pushed through that fair value gap. I want to see it close inside it if I'm going to consider this as a potential location. We do have previous day high sitting right here. Midpoint is sitting right here, 50% of the price leg that we've seen. All the way back down to potentially this breaker sitting right here. If we've come down this far, I'm probably going to wait to see if it will want to tag this. That was my original plan from the first place. We got news at 10 o'clock as well. We got pending home sales. I'm going to wait till news, which is in 3 minutes. This 15-minute candle is not looking good at all for a continuation. That would be the entry. I'm going to take a long here. And it might tap me out here. Yeah. I didn't get in. I was waiting for that close, and the 10 o'clock candle kind of just we'll see how it reacts to 9:30 here. It's still within this breaker. It's still there. I just need to see midnight open and 9:30 find support here. And if we can't, then using London high as the key level for price to start moving the other direction, it might move lower. That's kind of what it looks like it's doing. Eva, just explain what you're referring to so I got a little better idea. Please call the number. Are you talking about the price that I'm looking at? Okay. I can do that. Right now I'm waiting because as far as the narrative I wanted to see, I'm seeing none of the narrative of what I want. So I have to figure out what that narrative is before I can really take a new trade. I wanted it to go lower. It didn't. So once we hit London high, I thought, okay, well, let's see if we can get a retracement down to here to then continue up to the previous day high sitting right here, sitting at 21.77.71. We didn't get that. So quite frankly, I mean, I'm just telling it as it is. My price reading today sucks. I'm not reading price at all in the way it should be. So if I'm not reading it clearly, I need to sit out and not do anything until I can identify my target. So this is what I wanted. I wanted this to take place, right? I just wanted it to happen before London high. I wanted it to hit the new day opening gap from this morning, the high sitting right here at 21, at the 572s, and then you have the low sitting at 548. That's what I wanted originally. So, quite frankly, all cards on the table, my price rating is sucking right now. This red line is the midpoint of the new day opening gap. We hit the midpoint of the opening range gap. So now we just need to see what it wants to do here. Ultimately, I'm still bullish. How we get there, it's still a little uncertain for me. I do like that, Ricardo. We just swept the 4-hour swing low right here. I called out January 21st. We haven't hit that high yet. January 21st high is sitting around 783. It jumped over your short? Oh, on the Qs? Okay. I don't use the Qs to in my analysis. I use ES, and ES didn't even hit its previous day high. So that's why I looked at that breaker potentially breaking from here and moving higher. Do you place your entries on the retracement? Ted, is it 80% on Apex? I haven't seen an email. Let's see if we got one. Yeah, there it is. That was 1 minute ago. So 80% off, folks, is on Apex. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's why they changed it. They changed the reactivation to $50. I'm like, they're probably gonna do a sale. So it's a 1 day to pass, 80% off. You can use the code DTJ, and that will give you the most updated discount of 80% off. And it's till February 5th. I'll drop my code in the chat if you guys would use it. If you use Apex, all I ask is you use that code. I'll pin that right there for you. That stinks, J Money. That's frustrating, I'm sure. Watching this volume imbalance right here. And then I'm watching this inversion right here. I want to see a higher low. I don't want to see a lower low, and if we get an inversion right here, I'm going to look at that as a potential long. For our sweep of liquidity, new day opening gap tagged. Got a new 15-minute candle here. Not liking the price action. Patrick, I'm personally looking for buys, but we need to see displacement to the upside for us to be confident that we're going to do that. We also, though, we also have equal lows down here. So I'm not looking to take a short right here because we're inside the new day opening gap. I would prefer a long. Midpoint of the new day opening gap is tagged right there. Little sweep, we'll see where this candle closes. New day opening gap filled right here. The bodies are close, staying or respecting the midpoint of that. All I'm waiting for is a push higher. I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom. Hey, Deborah, good morning. Honestly, nothing. A bunch of crap. That's pretty much what we've missed so far. Just straight sideways, nothing really happening in here. Chop fest it is. Yeah. Unfortunately, not much to talk about either. Watching these equal lows down here. I'm going to wait till it hits these equal lows and see what happens here. And I'm probably going to wait till 11 a.m. There's our sweep of liquidity. The equal lows sitting at 507. The morning sessions all of January have been, I'm not going to lie, been very disappointing. Price action hasn't been very good. I feel personally like that my ability to read price action this month has been very poor. There's been days that have been, what I expect. I think earlier this week we had one of those days. It was beautiful, but it was like the first time it's been that way in this whole month. So I'm just viewing kind of January as a consolatory month, we survived it type month. Like, for example, the reason why I didn't look for a reversal here at London highs was because we had a previous day high sitting above it. And before, and many times before, is when I've taken a short based off of trades like this, they've failed because the draw on liquidity is higher. So that's why I didn't take anything from this London high lower, which there would have been opportunity there. And it continues to roll. It just continued to roll over to the equal lows. And I wouldn't have taken this because I would want to see price run up here. But now, because my analysis was we should be going here, it's all running against all my analysis. This looks nice right here. JR, it could be me too. Yeah. I mean, it absolutely could be me on the missed analysis. And I'm willing to accept that. 100%. I'm not going to blame the market. But I will say that there are some months that it just seems way easier to read price. That's just the truth. But I need to be able to read it no matter what month it is if I'm going to be a profitable trader, right? You have to be able to read it. So I'm gonna just probably do eval today. So we're just gonna do an eval account today. I like these equal lows ran. In my mind, this is a key level. It filled the fair value. It filled the opening range gap. It's a relatively equal lows. It's also the low of day. This is the low of day, so we swept low of day here. So in my mind, I have permission to look for longs. We're going to have a 5-minute inversion created here. The high being the new day opening gap sitting at 547. We have equal highs here. This for a quick scalp doesn't look bad. All right, we are at 10:42 right now. We're coming up to the 11 a.m. macro. I want to see how it interacts with this 5-minute inversion I have on the chart, the blue box. I want to see if it finds support here or if it moves lower. Basically, I'm trying to look for displacement. I want displacement. We really haven't gotten much displacement action that grabs my attention that says, all right, it's time to start paying attention. We tagged the 5-minute. But we're still in consolidation. And we have another fair value gap down here. Nice tag of this 5-minute fair value gap or inversion fair value gap right here. Still playing off the idea that we've ran our sell side and seeing if we want to actually begin to move higher. Folks, I know it's a lot of sitting, a lot of waiting. This is a new 5-minute candle. If this 5-minute candle gets down into this 5-minute fair value gap, I might view this as manipulation and take a position in this 5-minute fair value gap, expecting that it holds. That's the idea right now. Depends where this candle closes. Like similar to these, I need to see it hold this 5-minute fair value gap. Doesn't look like that wants to do it either. I am just on the wrong side of all these moves. I mean, I haven't taken anything, just and I wouldn't even say, let me clarify, these aren't even moves. I want to see price move higher. My timing, I would say my timing is off right now. That would be the best way to describe it. Here's a 2-minute inversion. That 2-minute just closed. Got liquidity down here, but we've already ran that liquidity, so I'm not interested in taking a 2-minute inversion to the downside when I feel like liquidity has been grabbed already. It could run down to this 5-minute fair value gap, but it would do it without me. This just higher risk in my mind. So Not part of the plan. The plan is to look for a long. And the validity of that plan is still intact, despite as it goes lower. The hourly candle is going to close here shortly. So we'll mark out where this candle closes for 11 a.m. Ted, did you take an eval trade? This is what I have that anchored to right there. This is the 5-minute. That's what we're looking at right here. Nice. That's great, man. So 5-minute just closed through. I mean, that inversion that I didn't take to the downside because of the equal lows ended up printing 65 handles. It's a wild world of futures, huh? Wild world day trading futures. I mean, look at that hourly candle. 0 wicks on it. That, I mean, you got to assume that we're running towards those equal lows, right? We ran the previous day high already. Are we going to run all the way to the previous day low for a double break day? 12% odds. I mean, it could. We just had a double break day too. We had a double break day right here. Back on the 24th. Ran the high and the low. I can see the narrative of price wicking up into the fair value gap and then running lower. I mean, I can see that because that's ultimately what I see fair value gaps do. I just really wanted it to go deeper into this fair value gap before it did something like that. What do you guys think? Are we going to head towards the previous day low? Or do you think we reverse before that? No, I saw that. I did, but I was looking for higher prices. Isn't that great? The breaker plays out to the side. I mean, I played the breaker right here to the downside, and it didn't work. Then we have a breaker right here, but the stop on this one was 21 handles. So I don't think I ever would have taken that. Or you could do it from this little wick right here. It's these kind of things that make it hard right here. Talking to you, Ted, about fair value gaps or about breakers is we got our high, low, higher high. If I'm going to pick between that high, low, and higher high for a breaker and this high, low, and higher high, between that breaker and that breaker, the one that makes more sense looking at it in post-market or after hindsight is this one. Not because of this wick, not because of the wick right there, but because of the fair value gap. Now, we weren't looking for any shorts at this point. We were looking for longs. So that's why we didn't get anything. And we may have gotten this if we were looking for lower prices. If I was in the mindset of looking for shorts. If I was in the mindset that we hit our higher time frame key level and now we're going to start running the other direction. But because I was looking at this high as my higher time frame target, when we run this level here, I'm just thinking a normal retracement. Maybe even seek and destroy, grab liquidity, and start running back up the other direction. But we didn't even get that. Days like this are humbling to remind you that the market's always right. And you just got to get on the same side as that market. Man, I really want to do something here, folks. I have my plan. I have the idea what I want to see happen, and it's just not getting it. And we are, let's see, what's this black line? This black line are these equal lows. So, quite frankly, I don't feel I can go long until this level is taken. I could take a short to that trade right there. I could take this right. I could take this right here. It's going to be closing here in about 38 seconds. You could take that and try to play the continuation. It's not horrible. It's an obvious level. I'll reduce it. I was going to go 2 contracts. I'll go 1 if it closes. Okay, we're going 1 contract, and this trade will be invalid if we close above this blue box. I'll be moving a stop to break even as soon as we run this low right there. Stops at break even. We'll make the target this low here. There's a good chance we retrace all the way back up here. I only have 1 contract. Probably going to get stopped out. So stopped out at break even. I didn't take the 25 handles that was given me. Probably could go short here again and get it. So I guess there's a trade for you if you guys wanted to see one. I could have locked it in. I didn't. I was only at 1 contract, so I really wanted to see if it was going to push lower. But why should I think it's going to push lower? It's been just doing this up and down for the most part. Let's remove that buy limit. So I think what I'm going to say here is I'm bearish until we get down to these equal lows. Or I'll become bullish if we start running if we get massive displacements. If we get, like, I'm talking, we get a move like this. Because quite frankly, you could even reverse at that point. Instead of fighting, go with go with where price is moving. And even at this point, I don't see why it would stop here. We got a 30-second level here. And we did fill that. So this is technically the last fair value gap we have. So that's the fair value gap that we filled on the 30-second. We filled that and then we reversed. And now we are moving higher. I really would need to see displacement above this. I'm going to take a short right at this wick. Looking for just 40 ticks to see if it will give it to me. We'll protect that just to make sure I don't get stopped out or don't go negative. We're looking for just 10 handles. Didn't give me 10 handles. It did retrace though. I do like those I call them the first exposure to those wicks. I'll take a short off of that. But now that we've hit it twice, it's not the same. It's only on the first time, first exposure. because that's what it can do. It can just pump right through it. All right, so look how these candles are just straight up green. The last time we got it was when we were running these highs. Intentional price action. So obviously there's two ways you could look at this. You could say it intentional manipulation to run lower, or we're intentionally moving the other direction. At this point, I'm just trying to find a way that I can get in. Because this is telling me, this says we're going at least to these equal highs. Just the way price is delivering is just very, very poor. Poor for me to recognize an entry. That's what I'm trying to say. Price is doing what price is doing. But for me to take an entry, I need to see certain characteristics in price that I'm not seeing. I'm seeing the characteristic of it spooling higher, but I don't have my entry. I could just click the button, get in, but at any moment it could just do a giant candle wick lower and then continue higher. So where do you get in at? That's the question. And for me, it's where this breaker's at. The other option is the first fair value gap that it drops down into. If it can't violate that, then that would be also an option. This is the hardest part about trading, is when you see it doing this and it's just going without you. You want certain things to happen. It doesn't happen. Here's the thing. My progress or my success as a trader is in my ability to follow my plan, not get in every move that's moving higher. My success as a trader is not tied to getting in every move, but it's in following my plan. Now, if my plan has something that it's missing, then that's just part of the learning process as a trader. Is there something that I may have missed in this? Sure. But ultimately, the more valuable thing is your ability to follow your rules. That to me is success. So the safest place would be to take a long if it's spiraling higher, spooling higher. The safest place, assuming that it respects this order block, is to take it at the order block. Now, we did wick this high, I think. We did touch this order block's high right there. So it could just still run higher and higher. The reason it's stopping below targets is because it has mitigation blocks. It has other premium PD arrays that it's running into. Or it means also that the target is still potentially lower. Because all of this could just simply be a retracement to a bigger move low, to a continuation to the downside. Let's look at what this price leg is. From that low, from that high to that low, equilibrium is right here. So I would say it still has some upside to go. But it still hasn't gotten into my order block on where I want it to go. The volume imbalance right here could be reaching for. Put it right there. Let's see if it wants to do it. Went into the order block. That's what I wanted. And we're probably getting stopped out. Guys, I think that's it. We've been calling it, or I've been calling it wrong, I feel like, all day. We took 2 trades based on momentum that I liked. Oh, don't tell me it's going to do that now. Look at that wick and then that candle. I'm going to take one more. If it fails this, nope, that was liquidation of that account. So no, we just failed that eval account, guys. I was doing 4 contracts and we didn't take, what happened was on this trade right here, I didn't take profit. So I was already down about $800. No, it was one contract. One contract for 100 points. It was I was already down $400, and then we took one loss with 4 accounts, $800. So I was down $1,200. So this reaching down put me out. Okay, guys, we're going to be done. We're not going to keep trying. We've been wrong all day, and it's we're going to call it a day. So stay safe out there. Tight stop losses. Don't do anything crazy. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless. Stay safe. Take care.